So I talked about a navigator process, which is our diagnostic tool. So let me just explain the 4 stages of those, because that's what the further education college individuals will be doing, is working through this with employees. So we start overall with the navigator process. Okay, which is our diagnostic tool. The first stage is the the first stage is the orienteering. So that part of the stage is when the individual from the college would be finding out some information or discovering knowledge about either the company and or the subsector in which they work. It's the preparation stage, and they can use the portal as well as other sources. They also would make contact with the employer to establish what the benefits are to the employer through going through the process from stage 1 all the way through to stage 4. So from here as 1 all the way through to stage 4 at the end. So that's the identification of the knowledge, doing some preliminary work, and establishing the benefits to the employer. The second stage is the fact find, which we call which we call discovery. Now, this is where the tool is actually used with the employer in a face-to-face situation and working through the 8 categories of questions and the 71 questions that we have created specifically to elicit information from that particular employer. So this is done in a formal face-to-face interview stage using the navigator process. Once the discovery stage has taken part, the individual from the college would then go back to their college and to create, which is the reporting stage. The reporting stage. This is when the tool itself, by the technology or the software that we use, will create a range of graphical representations of their responses to the questions that have been asked. So that's the first thing that's done, is to actually just follow the software through to create a series of graphical representations. The other part of this reporting stage is to then, so one is the sort of graphical representation of the quantitative responses, but equally important, or some cases more important, is the narrative. So the narrative or the responses of the employer to the qualitative questions is also captured and identified in the same report that is going to be given back to the employer. There's one final part of the reporting stage, is that the individual from the college would then look to their colleagues to see what their individual capabilities are, i.e. solutions, recommendations that particular college can offer the employer. And as part of our project, we want that knowledge to be shared with us centrally, so that we can look across the piece, look across the Skills Academy to see what we are offering through our other providers in the network in terms of solutions. The final stage is to create a roadmap. And we deliberately use that term because that is what financial services employers are using. They're looking for roadmaps, which is when the individual or individuals who have gone through the discovery stage, who've gone back to their base, if you like, the college, looked at internally what they're able to offer, created the outputs from the questions that have been asked, and then they have returned, probably within a 10-day to 14-day period, back to the employer. And at this point, it is about sharing that evidence with the employer the graphical representations, the outputs and the narrative, so that the employer has a very clear idea of what their strengths are, where areas which they're perhaps not weak but is worthy of some attention, and more importantly to identify any areas of their business which has created a development need for them. And then also in parallel to that, obviously, is for the college to look to and say, well, these are the things that we could help you with because we have experience and expertise in this area. So once that sharing has gone on, really at the roadmap stage, they're establishing, well, what happens next? And really that is what the navigator is doing. What we were also looking today is the role of the business analyst. I.e., what are the skills, competencies and capabilities and knowledge of financial services that the colleges have, or more importantly don't have at the moment, to enable them with a professional navigator process to be able to convince the employer that they should be engaging with them. And the last part of the session this morning, or this afternoon rather, was to ask the colleges what they feel is the personal specification of the persons that they have. What do they think they are looking for? What do they think they need in order for this sort of blended role of a business analyst to be able to provide a consistent, coherent and professional service to the employers that they talk with.
Thank you, David. Wilson, just sit down quickly. How do you feel about it all? Is it challenging, overwhelming, walk in the park?
Today was interesting because having spent about 3 or 4 months to arrive at this particular point, it was the opportunity to share what we have discovered, what has worked, what hasn't worked, this important stage of being a reflective practitioner with effectively our group of providers and regional directors, so that we have a sort of common understanding and a common appreciation of what the hurdles are, what we have done well, where our successes have been, which was evidenced today by the feedback from the initial testing. Today went well because one of the outputs I was looking for was to get a better understanding of what the college providers believe are the skills and attributes and knowledge for our business analysts. So I have got plenty of evidence for that, to think about what we need to do in terms of offering training and development as part of the project, if any, to individuals in the colleges, so that they feel confident, capable to then go out and achieve their targets, which are to engage with 7 employers in each of the subsectors over the next 3 to 4 months, so that we get some really high quality evidence back and some really good discovery of new knowledge, which we can put into our portal for the benefit of the project.